Good afternoon, everybody that's joining me live right here on our monthly workshop for marriage and relationship. I do these once a month for anybody that's interested in having a stronger relationship, marriage, committed relationship. And I'm going to give you 20 minutes of great content of things that you can use right now in your relationship. And we follow this 20 minutes of information sharing and tools and applications, systems, things that you can use to level up your number one human relationship. And I open it up to Q&A and workshop any issue that you might be experiencing in your relationship that you want to talk through, get feedback on, or actually work with me one-on-one and get the solution that you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all right now. So what's draining your connection? That's the topic of what we are talking about today. And this is kind of on one of the 14 pillars that I have that I'm going to share with you. Here they are. If you don't have them, you can download these from my website, MatthewPHoffman.com. But these are the 14 pillars that really every single successful relationship needs to have. And you can see the three that are in gray are what I call the three C's: commitment, communication, and conflict resolution. And the others are ones that are important elements as well. And you can see we've highlighted number 6, which is intimacy. And that's the pillar that we're going to be focusing on and working on today. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat. I will try to get through this content first. If it's germane, I'll answer that question, but save your questions, anything that you'd like to work through, to the end. And after the first 20 minutes of presentation, we will jump into workshopping and questions and taking on anything you'd like to cover with my time for you here today. So what's our objective? It's to deepen intimacy and create high trust in your relationship. If you're feeling like the picture on the left here, you're back to back with your partner, you're not connecting, you're not looking to each other's eyes, you just don't feel like there's a strong, intimate connection, or you want to get to that second picture where there's love, closeness, happiness, that's what we're going to dive into today. So what are you going to get today? 3 specific strategies that you can implement in your relationship right now going forward. I'm going to give you some application tools so you have better outcomes, and I'm going to answer any questions you may have. And we'll have 40 minutes at the end to workshop any questions that may come up for you. So let's start first by looking at the issue of addressing miscommunication. Because when couples lack effective communication frameworks, it's not just about the argument at hand. It's really about that gradual fade of intimacy. You may not notice it at first, but over time, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that as you go down the road in your relationship, you don't really know the person you're with anymore, and you're living more of that parallel life. And then things like the threat of divorce or separation seem to come out because the frustrations that have developed, that you've pushed under the rug, have lingered and they've never been addressed. So we got to kind of acknowledge that this emotional struggle is the first step you can take that'll help you transform your relationship. So be honest. I want you to ask yourself this question: when was the last time you truly felt connected with your partner? If you feel that way now, that's exactly how it should be. 80% of the time, you should feel that strong, natural, enjoyable, positive connection with your partner. I'm not talking about just coexisting, living together, and managing the household, right? When we communicate about tasks and things that we need to do, it's really not communication. That's just logistics. When did you feel truly seen, truly heard, and truly close to your partners? The reality is that most couples don't drift apart because of one big event, like one thing that happened. They drift apart because their small moments of connection quietly fade away. Now, don't get me wrong, there's things that can happen like infidelity, addiction, financial issues. Those are big things, but it's usually not one single event, but a lot of little things over a long period of time. But what's the good news? The good news is you can get those moments back. And it starts with what you're going to learn in the next 20 minutes today. Here's what we're going to cover today. 3 powerful frameworks. The first framework is called the 4 channels of connection. 4 different channels, 4 different ways that we connect with each other. The second one is knowing what are the 2 silent disconnectors, the things that happen without a word being said that disconnect you and make you feel more separate from each other. And the third is, what is the habit of connection? What can you do habitually that will keep your connection strong, vital, and meaningful? The biggest mindset change at the heart of this principle is you're going to do something different. If you think about it, a partner who's heated or who is flooded is looking often unconsciously for cues about, am I safe? When you bring a calm presence to the relationship, that's a cue that they can let down, relax. And I want you to think about it. Think about a parent with a crying child. When that parent is calm and at ease, what happens with the child? You're able to bring the child down to your level because they're feeding and reeling off the cues that you're getting them. It's like, think about a captain who's really steady in a boat in rough seas, or a pilot who's navigating rough airspace in a calm and gentle way, and then communicating what's going on. They're the professional. They identify the issue. They let you know what's being done about it and what you can expect. It's not really about being right. And all those examples I gave you of the parent, the sea captain, or the airplane pilot, it's about being steady and communicating intent and following through. So let's jump into the 4 channels of connection. Most couples are only using 1 or 2 of these channels, and they wonder and think, why do I feel so disconnected from my partner? So first, pause. Before you're going to speak or interact with your partner in any situation, pause. And I mean, literally count to 4. Let it marinate. Don't react. Think about what you're going to say. After the pause, you soften. Drop your shoulders. Relax. Unclench your jaw. And if your volume is up here and you're animated and you're excited, do what you can do to bring your volume down and say in an acknowledging way, I hear you, before you say anything else. And then 4th, respond. So you're choosing your words from calm and from your values, not from being flooded or from the heat of the moment or emotion. So pause, soften, acknowledge, and then respond. Let's talk about the channels here. There's a ritual that we'll get into in just a second, but here's the shift. You got to learn how to stop managing emotions, yours and your partner's. Instead of figuring out and trying to get the emotions just to where you think they need to be, you need to learn how to start sharing your emotions. That means being vulnerable. Here's the method that you can use to do that. Sharing feelings beyond answering questions, fine, tired, okay, that doesn't tell your partner about your emotional state. Here's a ritual that you can practice. It's called the high, low, hope ritual. When you see your partner, you're reconnecting after a long day in a nice conversation, ask them what their high of the day was. What was the thing that was good, that happened positively? What was the best moment? And ask them their low. What was the hardest part or the most disappointing part about their day? And then what do they hope? What do they need tomorrow to start off in a great place? And make sure that when you ask these questions and they tell you, all you're doing is validating. You're not solving. You're not giving a solution, not telling them what you think. You're making sure you understand and asking opening questions to learn more. Here's the big takeaway from this exercise. A partner who feels emotionally seen is going to open up more, argue less, and love deeper. And that's not just a win for them, but it's a win for you as well. Here's the mind channel, the second channel you can tune into. Here's the shift. Your partner's inner world is worth exploring, so make it a priority. That means you got to be genuinely interested in what's going on with them. And here's the method. All you're going to do in your questions and some of your conversations that you intentionally schedule or have throughout the week is ask them about their ideas, their opinions, what they're dreaming about, not just tactical things, schedules, who's doing what when. You can debate passionately and try to get your opinion across once you've understood theirs, but you have to do it respectfully. Maybe you could read the same book, listen to the same podcast, and then discuss it from your viewpoint. You're going to learn more intellectually about you and your partner when you have these shared experiences. You do it together and then talk about it and get the other's take on it. That's how you strengthen the bond and have a stronger connection. So what's the takeaway? When you intellectually engage with your partner, it builds deep admiration, it keeps curiosity alive, and this is the antidote to boredom and emotional distance. So if you ever felt bored in the relationship or like you're really distant from them, this is something you can do. Here's core principle number 2, which is called the grounding method. And we're going to talk about what 3 anchors are. First, there's the body anchor. In any moment, can you feel your feet on the floor? Okay, make sure you're feeling your feet on the ground, the floor, wherever you're standing. Think about that, how you're connected. And then name 3 things you can physically sense to yourself. I smell bacon from breakfast this morning. I see bright light outside. I hear the wind blowing through the trees. Another thing is a breath anchor. If you breathe out longer than you breathe in, 7-Eleven breathing, okay? Breathe in for 4, we hold it, breathe through our nose, and we breathe out through our mouth audibly for 7. Pause and repeat that. That's going to anchor you physically in the moment. And there's a value anchor. You can say, who do I want to be in this moment? With what I'm about to say or do, how do I want to show up? What value of mine am I going to express? A lot of couples stop being curious about each other. And this channel, the grounding method, is about reigniting that intellectual spark. What did you do? What did you last ask your partner about how they're currently thinking about, not doing, but thinking about? When's the last time you asked them that question? What are you thinking about right now? What are you not doing, but what are you thinking about? That opens up that communication and allows you to do that anchoring. Then there's the we channel. This is shared experience. What's the shift? A relationship without shared experiences slowly becomes 2 parallel lives. So how do we attack that? Create rituals that belong only to the 2 of you. Try new experiences together regularly. Protect we time, even in the chaos of life with kids and careers. My wife and I do this by going on rucks, weighted walks together. Fast paced, we've got intention, but we're ignoring our phones, we're talking to each other, and we're physically covering distance. It's like having an outdoor board meeting with your partner and getting a good, healthy walk in. Because when you have shared experiences, they generate the stories, the inside jokes, the memories that really create the culture and the fabric of your relationship's identity. This channel, those shared experiences, is often the first to go when life gets busy, especially for couples with young children or demanding careers or a new career. So think of one ritual that just the 2 of you could engage in this week. One of the rituals my wife and I have is tickling or massaging each other's head or face before going to bed every night. It's a gift, it's connection, and it's doing something of service for your partner. And it brings us together and creates appreciation too. Then there's the touch channel, physical. Physical connection is not just about sex. It's about safety. So I want you to practice the 6-second reconnection daily. That means a hug, a full embrace, or a kiss at the time of you getting back together for 6 full seconds. When you increase your non-sexual touch, hand holding, hand on the back, a long embrace, whatever it might be, you're being intentional about your physical presence. Put the phone down and lean in. Why? What's the takeaway here? Sustained touch releases oxytocin. It's a positive bonding hormone. It lowers your stress. It signals to the other partner, we're safe, we're good. And that's the lasting foundation of physical and emotional intimacy. Think about becoming your partner's safe harbor. They need to know that when they're with you, when you're holding them, when you're kissing them, when you're touching in close proximity, that they can come back here anytime they want when things get rough. And there's no judgment, there's no solving, there's no agenda. And emphasize that the two of you create this together for each other. One person can't build this alone, but one person can certainly start and invite and encourage the other. And every time you do this, you're connecting to trust. Every calm, grounded interaction adds a charge to the relationship trust account. You're making a deposit. The more deposits you make in that physical trust account, the stronger the bond is, the more desirous you are of connecting emotionally, which leads to a more enjoyable physical sexual experience that you may want to have. What are the two silent disconnectors that jump in? You can do everything right and still feel miles apart, and here's why. These two disconnectors don't announce themselves. They build slowly, quietly, and dangerously. If you leave them unchecked, they become walls, and there's no amount of date nights that can break through that. So the first step is knowing their name. So let me share that with you. The first one's called the resentment wall. When you don't speak the grievances, when you stuff them under the rug, ignore them, or throw them on the back burner, they calcify. That means they get hard and they get bigger, and they get more difficult to handle. If you name resentments before they become permanent walls, use the phrase, I haven't said this, but I need to blank. Can I share that? So when you practice repair attempts immediately after conflict, that means you're choosing curiosity over contempt and emotion. So every resentment that you name it and process is a brick that you take out of the wall of resentment. Every resentment that you swallow or refuse to address is a brick that you add to the wall that's going to create a permanent separation between you and your partner. You want to break down the resentment wall, not build it. Silent disconnector number 2 is the voice of hesitation. Here's the shift. The things you don't say are slowly building distance between you. So when you self-censor out of fear for your partner's reaction, ooh, I better not say that, ask yourself, is this safe enough to say? And does it contribute to building the safety together? That's a muscle. Practice the rule. And if you feel you really need to say the thing 24 hours or schedule a time to say it, and you still want to, and it feels right, then you know it's something that should be said. Create a nothing is off the table conversation ritual monthly. Hey, anything that happened between us this last month or these last few weeks that we need to address or talk about, or that we haven't processed between the two of us, it's a chance for you to each bring things up, get them on the table, and deal with them before you add more bricks to that resentment wall. Because in a relationship where both people feel safe to speak freely is a relationship that can handle anything. So that's the silent disconnector that we have to worry about. Here's a connection habit. Transformation doesn't happen in grand moments. It's not the big gift, the vacation, the getaway, the crazy date night. It happens in small daily choices done consistently. The habits I'm going to share with you rewire how you connect. Each one takes less than 10 minutes. And when you add them together, you layer them, they create a compound effect on your relationship's intimacy and trust. These aren't suggestions. They're systems, and systems create results, whether it's in work or whether it's at home in your relationship. Habit 1, the tell me more practice. Here's the tool. It's just a single phrase that transforms surface talk into deep connection. Here's what I want you to do. When your partner shares anything with you, pause and say, tell me more about that. And then you can follow up with, what did that feel like for you? Resist the urge to respond with your own story, advice, or your own experience. If you do that at least once per conversation every single day, you'll be blown away by the progress and the results. When you say, tell me more, it means you're genuinely interested. And invite your partner to go deeper, and people fall in love with those who make them feel truly heard. Have that genuine interest. Ask that simple and basic question. Tell me more. The welcome home reset. This is a daily transition ritual that separates the outside world from your relationship space. Here's the method. Based on the 6-second reconnection. At reunion, it means when the two of you are getting back for the first time after a day, put everything down. The phone, the keys, whatever it is, just fully stop and engage in a 6-second hug. I mean, a really nice, meaningful embrace or a kiss. And I want you to count it 6 to 7 seconds and then ask, how are you doing? Really? And then listen. No logistics, no to-do lists. There's a study that was done. When you hold a 7-second embrace or kiss, it has a physiological impact on you, your stress, your heart rate. So you're resetting yourself physically with your partner, focusing on them and opening up the door. This ritual, if you get into it with your partner, says, you are more important than everything I just walked in with. And over time, it can rebuild the feeling of being each other's safe harbor, which is a place that we'd all like to be able to hang out. Habit 3, the appreciation anchor. This is a daily practice of expressed gratitude that keeps contempt permanently at bay. This is part of the energy check-in. So every evening, if you share one specific appreciation with your partner, I noticed when you did X that it meant Y to me. Be specific, not you're great or good job or thanks, but the way you handled that with the kids tonight made me feel so supported, and I could see they were more relaxed and at ease. You're going to be specifically identifying what they did, how it made you feel or others in the moment, and then share the intention of how you want to show up yourself tomorrow, meaning I'm going to work on doing what tomorrow. Because when you have specific appreciation, it rewires how your brain sees your partner, shifting from fault finding and what's not right and what could be better to strength spotting and magnification. This is a huge antidote to the resentment wall, because you can't be grateful and angry at the same time. And if you're spending 80% of your time expressing gratitude and appreciation for your partner, you're diminishing the time you'll be spending on things that are adding bricks to the wall instead of taking those away. And it creates micro accountability and models personal ownership within the relationship. And this is a two-way street. This is not one partner doing for the other. It's both partners doing for each other. So you've kind of been given a quick 3-point relationship blueprint today. What was the first framework? The 4 channels. The core tool is keeping them open, and the daily time, meaning you have ongoing awareness. And we talked about those 2 disconnectors, naming them before they grow, so you're not putting bricks in the wall of resentment, but you're taking them away. And check in weekly, at least, about that. And the third, the one we just did, was the connection habit. What's the high? What's their low? And what do they hope? What was the high of their day? The low? What do they hope it will be tomorrow? The welcome home, meaning that 6-second hug or kiss and embrace, right? And the appreciation anchor. anchoring your relationship in gratitude and appreciation for the good instead of fault finding and pointing out the negative. So the couples who transform their relationships, it's not that they have more time. They make better use of the time they already have. Tell me more signals genuine interest. Invite your partner to go deeper, right? So all these tools that you can be using are going to make changes in the relationship and bring you more connected and more intimate emotionally and physically with your partner. So your next step really starts tonight. As soon as you leave our session today, choose one habit you can start tonight. Is it the high-low hope ritual 5 minutes before bed? Is it the welcome home reset tomorrow when you reunite with your partner? Or is it the appreciation anchor? One specific thing said out loud along with how it impacted you. And if you want to take all these things and go even deeper, I invite you to book a complimentary core energy coaching session with me. And I want to remind you that your relationship is not broken. It's just waiting for you to show up differently. So if you're ready to make your intentions for improved intimacy and connection with your partner your new reality, you can get your complimentary coaching session right now. Scan the QR code, go to the link that I have in the bottom of this page, and pick what kind of session you like to have. It's not a sales call. It's a way for you to understand what happens when you change your energy, how you change the results you have in your relationship, in your work, and in your life. For anybody that's joining me live right now, I'm going to take questions or opportunities. If there's something you want to know, a question you want to ask, or there's something that you'd like to tackle with me together, now is your time to do so. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment and ask you to throw anything that you may want to know about in the chat. And I will do my best to answer it, and we will work through it together. While you're thinking of those questions, the next webinar that we have is on August 20th at 2 p.m., usually the third Thursday at 2 p.m. And I want to make sure that you understand that exceptional outcomes are not a matter of chance. They're built with intention. I'd love to share tools and systems and frameworks that work for me and all of my clients, and also answer any questions that you may have of things you'd like to see resolved in your relationship. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to speaking with you and meeting you and learning how I can help you in that complimentary core energy session. If you need to grab that link, you can go to matthewphoffman.com. And there's links there that say book my complimentary session. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks for joining me today.